Good gaming morning to you, whether you're tossing dice, flipping pages, stroking that brush, or mashing them buttons. We got your 6 on all things gaming. My name is Loki. This is
Eddie.
And we are
Basement Quest.
That's right, my friends. Bringing you everything that's great in the gaming world, whether it's tabletop, whether it's video games, or whether it's just anything that makes your little Fraggle explode with excitement.
Little Fraggle, huh?
Little Fraggle.
Yeah. Like maybe a doozer or something?
A doozer.
A
Yeah,
doozer.
there you go. It could be a doozer.
Yeah.
I like that. So we're going to open up with a little bit of information that Ed found. So what you got?
Oh, yeah. This was just released not too long ago. This is interesting. Now, as you know, we, as mentioned probably a lot, comics
connoisseurs.
I like them both. I'm kind of more on the DC side. I think
Yes,
Mike's
and
more on Marvel.
I'm a huge Marvel,
but,
love Marvel, absolutely.
DC is working on a Dungeons & Dragons source book out of the fantasy series The Last God. Polygon had the story. 40-page source book to include everything you need for a home campaign. So I'm assuming it's just going to use the straight Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition rules. It's just going to be a supplement.
Right.
And it'll expand on the setting of Cain Enon, seen in the publisher's recently launched Black Label series, The Last God. The book, written by Philip Kennedy Johnson and drawn by Riccardo Federici, picks up 30 years after a group of adventurers defeated an undead horde, climbed an impossible mountain, and slew a god to save the world. When the same undead horde shows up again, it becomes clear that their victory may not have been as clear-cut as the legend would tell. So it sounds real good.
So they might have actually made a deal with the devil.
I don't think this is the first. Well, I think Marvel's worked with Wizards before.
Yeah. And as a matter of fact, it was right after their failure of which we brought up a couple episodes before with the TMNT, the actual Marvel role-playing game. Oh God, that was horrible.
Yeah, I'm glad that didn't last.
But no, it sounds like it's. I'm glad that DC's actually getting their name out there because we've actually talked about it, and it's funny. I was making my place again, and I had called up Xfinity, free movies, man, and one of the first ones that popped up there was Justice League. Mm-hmm. I'm like, you know what, whatever. I haven't seen it in a while. Let's give it a chance. Yeah, it still sucks.
I don't hate it.
I don't either. But my God, if you're getting paid that much money, can you please get rid of the mustache? Can you do a better job? It just looks so bad. And then if you got 4K,
there's videos of amateurs removing that mustache.
4K, dude, it makes it look even worse. It looks like Henry Cavill has a goddamn tumor on his fucking upper
that movie,
lip.
The Ring, and when they take pictures of everybody, their faces are all like swirled out. That's what Henry Cavill looks like for half of Justice League.
I stand for justice.
And nothing's worse than when he's got Batman and asks him if he bleeds, and his teeth look fake and everything.
Yes. No, they did an absolute fucking terrible job. Terrible job. But like I said, I want DC to succeed. I love the characters in DC. One of my favorites is Deathstroke. I think he's absolutely fantastic for somebody who's just, like a Batman. I mean,
I don't think they've given up though, because we just saw Ezra Miller pop up in Crisis of Infinite Earths.
And that would be cool. And that would be really cool.
He's at least still has a job,
right?
Gal Gadot has a job.
But I will say, DC cartoons, if you've seen them on Netflix, they are out of this world.
Love them.
They're outstanding. They have that universe is on point. I haven't seen any of the new Titans yet.
No.
Obviously, a lot of people are giving that some big hype, but you have to be a member of the CW network, right?
Well, the DC has their own.
That's what it
now,
is. Yeah. You have to be a member of the DC network, and with Disney pretty much having Disney and Marvel, why would you? You know what I'm saying? Like it's like, and Disney is just taking over everything. They got Star Wars, they got Marvel, they got Disney, they got Pixar. And for the low price of whatever they're offering it now, I got all three of them. I have Hulu, ESPN, and Disney, and I got it all for $12.
Well, Hulu is now included with my cell phone service, so I was paying for it. Now I'm like, oh, cool, because we just got Disney Plus, and we're like, we're paying for all these streaming services, and then
get rid of this.
Sprint stepped up and said, we'll give you Hulu. I'm like, oh, okay,
sweet.
So we'll go there.
That's the way to go.
But I mean, as far as the DC animated movies go,
incredible.
The one I haven't seen that I really want to see in kind of rolling up after our last episode there. Batman meets the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
I've seen clips
through it.
I've seen clips of them fighting, and it's just classic Batman and classic Ninja Turtles. It's great. I want to see that one.
It should be. That'll be great. I want to check.
Plus, I haven't seen the new Deaths of Superman either.
Those are good.
I saw the Superman Doomsday back in the 2000.
That's gonna be my new tattoo, by the way, because Chris was telling me the other day, what are you getting for your new tattoo? And so for this shoulder, I'm gonna get the iconic symbol of Superman's cape from the Death, but I'm gonna put it right next to a gravestone, and on that gravestone, I'm gonna get 2019.
Nice.
That's the year that, in my eyes, my Superman image died.
Are you gonna wrap it in like a black plastic?
It'll be on my shoulder, so maybe I'll just get my whole sleeve. Yeah, there you go.
And you're gonna print too many, so none of them are worth money now.
See, and that's the worst part. Is my dad has every single one, and I feel so bad for him for that. Yeah, all right. So, anyways, we are going to break down some video games for you guys. If you haven't been on Twitch. You have an active Twitch page right now. I'm working on
semi-active.
Yeah, semi-active.
We got to do a lot more.
Yeah, I'm working on getting my camera going too, especially now that everything is done and I can focus and I can get this. So I'm going to start getting this. But follow him.
Yeah, we had some fun not too long ago during a snow day.
Yes,
because we didn't get to go out for karaoke.
Do some karaoke.
So we decided, let's mash some buttons.
And we broke out the State of Decay 2, and which is
a cross-platform game. So if you're a PC gamer, you can play with Xbox. So it worked out.
And that was fun. That was mad fun.
It was hilarious.
We brought some of our friends over, and we just had a grand old time. But speaking of this game, this is the subject of today's topic, sandbox games. Obviously, State of Decay 2. Huge sandbox game. And for those of you who don't know what sandbox games are, I'm sorry. If you've never played one, I mean, classic names like Grand Theft Auto, Red Dead Redemption.
You could even say Skyrim.
Skyrim's got, exactly.
I'm a big fan of the Dying
Neverwinter's there, the Dying Light. Yep, that one was a big one. I mean, there's Far Cry.
Yep.
They even what's the new one there? Oh man, I can't even think of it. With the good boy, you know what I'm saying? The blonde Fallout.
Oh yes,
Fallout. Yes. Yep. Fallout 5. They tried to make it open world. Well, actually,
so
all the other ones are open world.
Open world.
Right. Yes.
Fallout 76. We won't talk about. Because
it was open world with everybody else, and God, they've messed that one up.
Yeah.
But leading back, I actually never knew this, but the first ever open world. AKA what we an open world is a sandbox world. In other words, you can go anywhere, like Zelda.
Yeah, it's not really a linear game per se, and you can walk. If you can walk there, you can get there.
Right, and if you might get your ass kicked because there's tougher monsters there.
Exactly, and there might be obstacles to go to certain areas, but largely you can walk around the whole world.
Some places like what is Assassin's Creed? You might need to have the special double jump to get to this next area. You know what I'm saying? Metroid was good for that. Metroid was a pretty much a nice open platform world. If you didn't have the ball, you couldn't get
an open side scroller.
Right. It was still a side scroller, absolutely. Yeah. But there was certain ways if you didn't want to go there, if you knew certain tricks, you can do certain things. But 1975, Telios Interceptor by Temonio Nicascioto. He was the first one to ever create this. Now, I've never seen this game. I did, however, play in 1990. You might have remembered this one. Robin Hood's Adventure. The Adventures of Robin Hood. Where you were actually, it was almost set up like it was a top world, but it was also open world, sandbox. They had the Terminator, which was also a big computer game. Mm-hmm. And there was one other one. The only one I remember was the Robin Hood one because Rob at the time had it, and he was like, "Yo, this thing is credible."
I don't think I actually played that.
The Hunter from IGN. A lot of people argue that obviously GTA is the forebearer of your sandbox. The first one, GTA Grand Theft Auto, was the top view down.
Here's the thing with a sandbox. There's certain in my opinion, certain criteria that should be met. Sandbox should be something that you can play over and over again.
Yes.
With obviously there can be a beginning and end, but largely, like State of Decay 2, you could just keep playing that if you want to. If you don't do the major quests,
yes,
you can just keep playing that and just help me do this, help me do that. You can just do that forever.
Oh, fuck yeah.
It might get repetitive. But you can just keep playing and playing and playing.
What
and
was
loading
that? Fable.
up.
Fable was like that. You could just roll around and just do all these side quests and never even do the main quest if you didn't want to.
Yeah.
Shadow of Mordor, which I'm doing the Shadow of War right now.
That's the online game, right?
No. This is the one where you're the ranger that melds with that elf, and you're going back through after it's before the events of Lord of the Rings.
Okay, so yeah, all right.
It's
Lord of the Rings online. I'm confused.
Right?
Lord
No,
of the
yes,
Rings
but
online.
that one's that's another one that's open. That's almost set up like Neverwinter Nights, though, right? Isn't that kind of like you choose your character and it's like a
World of
class,
Warcraft
right? Exactly.
Like I'm not throwing a lot of those out because I think those are an entirely different category in my
World
opinion.
of Warcraft, yeah,
they are open world.
They are, but they're also MMO. They're multiplayer online platform games.
But
so
we're kind of focusing on games where you can just sit down
by
after
yourself,
a hard day of work by yourself,
right?
And explore.
Classic, like I said, classic. One of the biggest hits right now from last year, Red Dead Redemption. You
Still haven't played it. I want to play it.
You can lose yourself in like hours just riding around on this freaking horse.
And he did. I didn't hear from him for like 3 days.
Oh, absolutely. No. And most people.
And when I did find him, he was stank.
No, it was. I actually, when you did find me, I posted that thing when it was like when your girlfriend wants to hang out with you, and it was the Tom Cruise wearing a cowboy hat going. It's like.
Yeah,
it's like, no, that game was, oh, man.
Like I said, I want to jump into that game. It's on Steam. Throw it out there. I do mostly PC games. I do have an Xbox, mostly PCs, mostly Xbox. Red Dead is available on Steam, but it's still like $100 if you want the complete game. It's crazy.
It's so worth it, though, man.
We'll probably get into some of the ridiculous pricing, but
it is. It's so worth it. One of my first experiences from a true obviously I played Grand Theft on the computer, and I didn't get into it too much because it was on the computer. So
the first games were like.
It was top, yeah. It was from the top, and it was weird, but it was still
Grand Theft Auto 3. I think is where they really broke their stride on that.
Yes, I would. That was just about to say that was my first because I think it was for PlayStation. Was it the first PlayStation?
I think it might have been out for first PlayStation.
It was, yeah.
I know it was a PC game.
Yeah, wow, holy crap! Yeah,
and
so it was the
just
first PlayStation.
Steal the car, drive
the car, kill the cops, get 5 stars, and try to freaking escape as fast as you could. Yeah, there was missions to do, and there was all kinds of crazy shit you could do. But the thing was, it was just in an open world like that, you just get lost so fast. Just like like with Red Dead, 1 minute you're shooting one guy, and all of a sudden this whole posse's chasing after you, and you end up in a swamp, and this gator's trying to eat you.
Right.
Like that in my opinion is the best of an open world.
I just want to say, like, bravo to the entire concept of side quests. I love side quests. I don't know what it is. So, like,
yes,
Dying Light is one of my favorite ones, or even Dead Island series. But Dying Light, I think, is
Dead
perfect.
Island is that's a cult classic, man. Not a lot of people really appreciated that game when it came out on Xbox.
I think because Dying Light kind of overshadowed it.
That's a good call,
and really kind of because they're similar games in mechanics and everything. And I think Dying Light was like, this is what we would have done with more money,
right?
And so obviously, I still play Dying Light. The parkour adds a lot to it. There isn't really much of that in Dead Island,
right?
So that's a lot of fun. But I just love how you could go just do the main quest, get through the game if you wanted to, but I like doing all these little side quests.
Yes.
And
sometimes they're more enjoyable. Sometimes
some of them are hard.
Not only are they hard, but some of them are so crazy that if you never did it, you never would have missed. Like you never would have went through it. One of the ones that I loved in Red Dead was there was a serial killer. The guy was literally leaving body parts around. There was nobody talking about it. There was little whispers here and there of him talking about it, but you had to go to all these things, and eventually you found this guy and you had a standoff, and then you got a pretty cool freaking gun and a knife out of the deal. So I was like, that was a really cool story. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't part of the main story, and if you didn't go to your side, or if you didn't find that side quest.
Yeah, see, that's what I think the game's done really good is when the side quests, they're not necessary, but they either will make something different or possibly easier, harder, whatever, in the main quest. So if you had done the side quest, you would have gotten this, and that would have been much easier. Now you're struggling with what you have.
Right.
So that is a well thought out side quest. I like deviating from the beaten path. I like getting the extra gear.
Oh, absolutely.
Like that.
That's the biggest thing about an RPG is, you always have the ability to make your character better. so you want to make it better. And usually 9 times out of 10 in an open world sandbox like this, if you don't have an RPG element, you're building your character.
That's my one complaint with Fallout 4. I mean, it's a beautiful game, but I think they don't have enough of the RPG part.
They don't,
and
that's
a lot
what
of
that
go
was
here,
their,
shoot that,
right? And that was their bread and butter, man. That's what made them that franchise. You know what I'm saying? Like, could you imagine Dead Space and just not being in space? Imagine if you played like Dead Space 5 and it was on a base on the moon.
You didn't hear about the sequel, Dead Detroit?
Oh, really? Okay. No, I didn't. But it's, there's a certain ambiance that when you create a game and you take that part of it, you want to continue it. You want it to go forward. You know what I'm saying? And with this, I mean, you need, if it's an RPG element, please give me more RPG. Like I said, when I'm playing the Shadows of War, the Mordor game, I'm like looking, and he's got so many different paths you can do and then pick here. And when I get a skill point, I'm really like, man, where am I going to go? I love that. That's what I love, when you really have to think about it, when you're really putting 2 and 2 together and you're like,
See, I like the game because there's really 2 kinds of players. There's my opinion, questers, the ones that go step by step.
Yes.
To get to the end game, and then there's the grinders, the ones that will just do the same task over and over again.
Oh yes,
and just to like kind of pump up their stats, and then
the
blow through the game or whatever. You see that a lot in World of Warcraft and stuff like that. There's a lot of grinders.
Final Fantasy.
I like how
Final Fantasy 11, 15.
a lot of these games are structured in such a way that you can grind, but you can also get the same results if you do the quest and follow the linear path.
Right.
So you have that option, and neither one of them is worse than the other.
Right.
Because there are people. So using World of Warcraft as an example again, there are people that just like to do raids and stuff. They just to grind out raids. Then there's people like me. I didn't do a lot when I did play. I didn't do a lot of raids. I just kind of did the quests and level up that way and get the gear stuff. Every now and then a raid is fun, but doing them over and over and over again.
Right, exactly. That was like...
That's not how I want to play.
Which way?
I got kicked out of guilds because I didn't like to raid a lot.
That's what happened with me with Destiny. The first Destiny. I never really played Destiny 2 too much, but Destiny 1, it was all about the raids. It was always this, that, and the other thing. It was like, that was it. And eventually just, after like the 17th fucking raid of the day, you're like, dude, I've been getting only purples. I am done, all right? I'm done. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So the one thing I do like about a sandbox game is it shouldn't be frustrating.
No.
You should get lost in the game. It
should be challenging.
Right. You should, like I said.
Shouldn't be easy.
You should be running from one point, and all of a sudden you start getting chased, and then you get to another point, and something else is over there. Like, the world should constantly be moving no matter where you are. So when you go to that place, something is always going on.
Well, I think one of the games that really did... it does kind of follow a linear path, but it's still a little more open than most games, and I think it did a really good job with the RPG elements, in my opinion, was the first Tomb Raider.
No, that was good.
Because with Tomb Raider, you'd spend a good portion, you're sitting there figuring out that, figuring out this, figuring out that. Then all of a sudden, this huge challenge would come up, and you have to wake up and like, oh, shit! Yeah. I like games that do that kind of put you into a comfort zone and then rip you right out of it.
Right.
Resident Evil, another good one that does that. There'll be times where it's like you're just walking. Dogs! So I like that. So, games that really know how to take you on that whole emotional up and down.
Well, first of all, I think we've said it many a times, especially when it comes to D&D and everything else. Characters are everything. You give me a vanilla character, I don't give a rat's ass if a shark comes out of the freaking ground and eats him. I'm going to be like, oh, whatever. I didn't care. Yeah. I didn't care about that character anyways. You know what I'm saying? You give me a background, you give me a story, you make me love that character, and you put me in a world that he interacts with that or she interacts with that. I'm all for it. I am into it.
You got to give. So in all the sense, you're becoming this character, and you want to give me a goal that I can share with this character that I'm going to actually be emotionally invested in.
Right.
There's been tons of games where I think the game was good, the gameplay was good, but the plot and the characters were just like god awful.
Yeah. Far Cry Primal was like that. The game was great. Like the game, the mechanics, the controlling animals and doing all this that was great. The story was just fucking lame, dude. It just made you want to not follow the main story. So just like you said, you run around, you do all the side quests.
Even like Dying Light. There's that game again. Mm-hmm. Dying Light. I will even say the main game, the main campaign of that game is the story is not that great.
Right.
And the villain is kind of cookie cutter.
Right.
But this is why I keep going back to this game, because they are still investing in this game to this day. Mm-hmm. There's still new content coming out, even though Dying Light 2 is in the pipeline. They're still making content for that first game.
No, absolutely.
Although Dying Light 2, I heard, has been put on a hiatus. I'm a little disappointed, but
yeah, I think it's one thing. I kind of like when games do that, though. Number one,
I'm glad
it shows that
they'll say we're putting on hold. It's not ready.
It's not ready. It's not worthy. It's not worthy is my big thing. Yes, you could turn around and Battlefront 2 did it. Star Wars Battlefront 2. They had a great game.
Up EA and Rocksteady are notorious for pumping out games too early.
The game is beautiful. You play that game on a 4K TV. You see Darth Vader when you get to use him, and you're going ape shit on all these rebels, and you're doing that. It's iconic. It's so fun. It's awesome. But then you realize you paid $80 for half a fucking game.
Yeah.
And then they give it to you.
And you pay another
2 years later.
Another 80 for 2 maps or whatever.
Right, exactly. And then 2 years later, it's like, oh, come on, people.
Going back to Red Dead, I know you think it's worth it and everything. I don't. I'm looking at it, I'm like, I think that's
no,
crazy.
No. I don't. Yes,
because you understand, Red Dead is a victim of that same kind of pricing.
It is, dude. Yes,
I'm like, holy cow.
Is Red Dead worth $100? No. Is it a great game?
You can get it for
is it a great game? Yes, but for everything, you should still only pay max $60. I think for a poor game, something like I don't know what's give me something lame-o. I haven't played it in a while. Oh, what's that? Two Brothers. No, not Two Brothers. Two Worlds. Two Worlds. That shit was on Xbox 360. Xbox One. One of the first ones. Terrible. It was supposed to be the first ever 2-player simultaneous. You can go through. It was supposed to be like Fable, but more realistic. And
bring back the split screen, people, please,
dude. Gears did that. Gears 5, you can sit down and play split screen co-op right next to your buddy. Me and Alex did it the other day. It was so nostalgic, so cool. We played Final Fight together with Cody, Guy, and Hager. They had like an ultimate one, so we played that together. It was really cool, just playing on the same Xbox, same TV, sitting side by side. That was a really good feeling. And yes, you're right. They need to kind of bring that back.
And it doesn't even have to be a major release. Just put out a good $10 game. With a split screen.
I'd like a good, what is it? I think it was Crackdown. Crackdown did it. It's 4-player sandbox world. The only problem is you guys were superheroes. So at a certain point, you got so powerful that there was really no challenge. You know what I'm saying? That's what I liked about State of Decay 2 and Nightmare Mode. Now, if we were a little bit better, prepared, I think we would have lasted longer. But we had to have a plan.
Our whole group.
Right, and that's why I started building like a new, I call it the Nightmare Crew, because I'm going to, put them on the side. But no, because it's a real deal. It makes it hard. I mean, when we first came across that, dude, and this is one of those things. I wish we recorded the whole thing. I mean, we're doing the Nightmare Mode, and we're using our 2 characters, and we went through hell. We went through hell. I ran back, and I was beating these zombies off of him. Then he was beating zombies. I had this much health. I think I was like this far into the blood plague. You were like this far into the blood plague. We are literally trying to run away, and what comes around the corner? A pack of freaking ferals. Thank God we got the jump on them, because we did take them down, and we had the other dude helping us, and we found that other dude.
We should not have made it.
Should not have made it.
Actually, I think you still died of
I did.
plague.
That was the one who died. Yeah, that's the one you shot.
Yeah.
That was him.
I didn't shoot you. I gave you mercy.
He's still supposed to make the video. I want that video posted on Facebook.
Yeah, I'm gonna put that. That was funny.
That was the best moment ever.
Little funeral and everything.
Oh, it was.
This is why Twitch is so much fun.
No, exactly. And this is why I need to get back on there, and we need to link them together, and then you guys can get more video game content for us. From us, I should say, because you guys would be all over this. I'm all over it. Fuck, it's fucking fantastic.
I think what they need is like, I'm still waiting for that definitive, like, even Dungeons and Dragons, if it's got to be product where like everybody can kind of, I'm talking like top down, and everybody can kind of get in there, and
almost like the old school Labyrinth.
Maybe
elf needs food,
or even they need an updated version.
Fighter is about to die.
I think with the new like open world technology and some of the graphics engines now, they need to update. What's it called? Tecmo's Revenge.
Oh,
remember that's that one. You go into the house, you set the traps against the ghosts.
Yes, Deception. Tecmo's Deception.
Is it Tecmo's?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, dude.
Tecmo's Deception.
Please,
so play the hell out of that game,
dude. I thought I found it for like. It was like it was a setup, but it was for PlayStation 4. I would have had to buy a PlayStation 4, and it was a remake of the first one, and they gave you another one, and I was just like, it's so much just for this game. But I really did. I really wanted it, man.
I like games like that. We let's get into the first person shooter thing.
Well, hold on. Let's for those of you who have never even heard of Tecmo's Deception. Let's break off real quick because I think this game really deserves mention. First of all,
it's an underrated gem.
It really
is
very underrated. First of all, you're murdered. If I remember the story right, you're murdered and you're a ghost, and you're into this house, and you're essentially you control this house. And what you can do in this house is you can set traps, and you can there's all kinds of different cool traps. There's spike traps, there's gas traps, there's fire traps, there's werewolf traps. There's all kinds of.
You can't directly assault.
Right, they'll kill you.
Yeah.
They can kill you. You run around and like you're this like little ghosty thing, but they can actually kill you. And the soldiers will drop you in like one shot. Remember with those freaking swords? They'll take you out quick. But you could also use you as a dummy. So you could be like, "Ooh, I'm over here," and start running away. Then they'll chase you. Then you get them into a trap. And then they had the blocks, the axes, the swinging swords.
As it gets harder, as you go up in the levels, the knights and stuff that come after you start getting smarter. Like they can avoid traps
and magic equipment. Remember, and they'll duck under like the swinging blades.
And you only have a certain number of traps, and you have to set these ahead of time.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
and then see how you got to get the right placement. If you don't, it's kind of a puzzle game when you break it down. And if you don't have the right placement
or the right trap,
because
you could have a spike trap and the guy could jump over it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And what you should have done was the crushing one or something like that.
Exactly. Because I think there's flying creatures, so the spike trap is not good with the flying creatures.
Right.
But
there was all kinds.
Trap,
there's
pitfalls and stuff. And
that's why I said this game. If you ever get a chance, YouTube it, look it up. If you've ever played it, you know exactly what we're talking about. It is one of those games that I would love for a company to actually redo that.
Yeah,
and
it was done by Tecmo.
And yes, exactly.
So it's like they just put their name in the game.
That's all they did. Tecmo's Deception, and it was, dude. It was great. It was fantastic.
It was fun. And this is when the PlayStation first came out, so this is like one of the first games, and I was like, wow, this is different. I like this. Later down the line, I played a game that reminded me a lot of it. Was called Dungeon Master or Dungeon Keeper. And what you played was this monster whose job it is to defend the dungeon, and you set traps and stuff like that. And then the heroes come in. The heroes have these big shitty grins, like they're all like, look at me, like, and it's like, yeah, fuck you. Dude, I played the hell out of that game. I'm like, God, this reminds me of like Tecmo's Deception. I love this kind of thing. So
I played
more stuff like that. I think even if you don't remake Tecmo's
even me
Deception,
and Rob were talking about that the other day. He was like, remember that game? I was like, dude, I almost bought a PlayStation just so I could play it again.
Actually, yeah, I used to have a PlayStation, and that was one of the first games I looked for.
Yeah,
but I couldn't remember the name of it for the longest time. I'm describing it to everyone at GameStop, and
they won't know, dude, because it's
one person remembered. Like, oh, I know what you're talking about, Tecmo's Deception. I'm like, yes, like, yeah, here you go. It's $12.99 used. I'm like, thank you.
That's awesome. Yeah, I might have to go search.
That's an underrated gem. Steal a ROM.
Maybe we'll do it. Yeah, maybe we'll do a freaking YouTube freaking video of us going into like one of those places and finding an old PlayStation and actually getting Deception.
Yeah,
or putting that up.
Actually, I wonder if there's a PlayStation emulator coming out or one of those little ones. I wonder if that game's on it.
That would be pretty cool. I would love to get my hands on that.
I do know if you go to some of the, and I'm not, the Basement Quest does not recommend you buy bootleg equipment.
Yeah.
If you go to some of like the fairs, because I know when I was up at the Big E, there was a guy selling like a little Nintendo, and they sell the Nintendo with like 26 games on it.
And then you can get like the separate cartridge or whatever.
Well, he was selling an unofficially licensed one, and there's 300 games on this thing. I wish I had bought it.
Wow.
It was like $50. I wish I had bought them, kicking myself in the ass. But you go to some of these fairs.
That's worth it. Yeah, that's definitely worth it.
We don't recommend you go to some of these fairs, and we don't recommend you buy these little bootleg Nintendos with like 300 games on them.
We recommend you go to our affiliate site.
But I'm sure, buy the official license stuff. But if you want the 300 games. But you look for some of these bootleg devices, and they have like all these games on them. You know, like I'm sure there's one for Sony.
Right.
You know, but yeah, that Tecmo's Deception, that needs to come back, or they need something like that, because I would play the hell out of that game.
Oh, absolutely. But like you said, leading into the next genre that we wanted to spark on is first-person shooters. And leading into, now I know you're I know you are. But leading into it, I will say, what are your thoughts on Borderlands? It is a open world RPG first-person shooter, loot extraordinaire game.
I've only played the first one.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't hate it. I couldn't get into it, mostly because I thought it was a little too out there for me.
Right. But, the story mode, it's fucking whoo.
You know.
And cell shading, if you're not really used to that, it can, like after a while, get kind of like bug you. You know
yeah, the I like the animation look, but at the same time, bug my eyes after a while.
Yes.
But I think if you're gonna do a first-person shooter, Borderlands is probably the better of them.
Okay.
Because to be more specific, I hate running gun.
Right.
Halo. I don't like Call of Duty. Not
Halo.
a fan of Halo.
Call of Duty, yeah.
Although Red versus Blue is hysterical.
It is funny. Modern Warfare.
Yeah. Here's the thing, and this is just a personal thing. I'm not saying everybody else has to agree with my sense of morality. I don't play any games based on any kind of reality.
Right.
It's just the way I feel. So I don't like the Call of Duty games or anything like that. I don't play a lot of war games. You'll notice.
Right.
They're usually sci-fi, fantasy, horror based.
Well, you gotta also on that note, you gotta admit where we went from. I mean, we played the crap out of GoldenEye.
Yes.
For Nintendo 64, and that was, you couldn't even do this. It was.
Oh yeah.
It was straight across. Like that was it. So if you used freaking Oddjob and you ducked down, nobody could shoot you.
Well, here's the thing. It's like I'm not a fan of like Call of Duty, but I like Titanfall.
Right, Titanfall is a great game.
I thought that was good. It got a little repetitive.
It did.
I don't think they really tapped into it. And Titanfall 2, I guess, just failed.
Oh, it was terrible.
Yeah,
it was terrible, dude. You had all these other mechs and everything else going right. It was just.
You know what? I don't think we needed more mechs. What we needed was a plot of some kind.
Even the plot wasn't that great. You bonding with the machine wasn't.
Multiplayer game. As far as a multiplayer game, though, Titanfall's great. Like if you get together with your friends.
Oh, I had fun. I had a blast. I had a blast.
You know. But like, I'm trying to think.
Well, they've evolved so much. Like I said, GoldenEye, you're just doing this. Now you have games like Modern Warfare where you're coming down on a zip line, upside down,
what's that game,
and doing all kinds of crazy shit from that, man. Like the things that they do now with a first-person shooter are absolutely freaking
unreal. Unreal, I think, is really what technology-wise, the Unreal Engine
broke
changed
the internet.
Game.
Oh yes,
changed
dude,
the game.
Absolutely.
So Unreal Tournament. There's still people to this day play that game.
Absolutely.
And
but without the Unreal Engine, you wouldn't have your games like Halo,
Half-Life.
Any of those games. I mean, now that I think they're going from the Unreal Engine into something else. Isn't there a new engine out there? It's
all built on the Unreal Engine.
But it is, essentially. They still give the Unreal credit, but I mean, it's like a more life. I know they were talking about it with Halo
I think,
5.
Unreal 2?
Well, I know. I think at this point, the Unreal Engine is pretty much the only Unreal Engine out there.
Well, there's the Valve engine.
Oh, that's what it was. Valve. That's what it was.
Okay.
Valve does.
Valve does Half-Life and stuff like that.
Yes.
Unreal is.
Yes. Right. There you go. Because Valve also did.
Because Unreal just put out another.
Left 4 Dead.
Unreal just put out another release December 9th, 2019. So they're constantly updating.
Oh no, absolutely. No, absolutely.
Unreal. When it comes to video games, I think once Unreal Tournament, well, I think it was like just Unreal at first, came out. I didn't care for the game, but I was looking at it like, this has changed everything.
This is it, dude. This is it. I'll never forget the first time we played Halo 2 online against people. Because before that, it was just Halo, evolution of a soldier, whatever, Halo evolution or evolve, whatever it was called. And don't get me wrong. I mean, besides the fact that there were these big, gaudy controllers that Xbox originally had, this was the first time I played a first-person shooter with my buddy sitting right next to me, split screen. And, dude, I didn't put that thing. Me and Alan played that game for 8 hours straight, man. 8 hours straight. And I think we got, halfway through the campaign. We had it on, I fell in love. I fell in love with that genre, with that first-person shooter from that point. Now, keep in mind, I played GoldenEye. I remember going to
we had GoldenEye parties.
Right. And you remember this? We went to, what was that? One of those game things. It was at the Marriott at the time. It was the Game Cons. Remember, people had all the games out there, and I found Dark Forces. I was looking for Dark Forces forever.
Yeah.
And it was, I can only play it on the computer, but it was Star Wars, and they had all these iconic stormtroopers and all these levels. Yeah. Remember that? Yeah, and I freaking picked up this game. Love that game. But it really wasn't until Halo that I really, really fell in love with the first-person shooter, super fell in love with it. And I think it was because I said I had my buddy there. It was almost like the Diablo. Mm-hmm. It's like the Diablo feel. It's just there was epic moments. There was points where I'm getting overrun, and all of a sudden a grenade comes out of nowhere. Boom! And fucking these 3 elites are dead. And I'm like, oh, that was awesome. You see that, dude? Fuck yeah! It's and then Halo 2 comes around, and you're able to play online. And that, to me, I knew it was over.
Oh yeah,
I knew it was over. I've seen the Unreal. I've seen what Unreal was at that point, and I knew what Unreal could do because I've seen all these computer players playing it. But when I was finally able, because I didn't play it, like we've said before, you're more the computer guy, and I'm definitely the console guy. When it came down and I was able to finally see the joy that these guys were playing over there, and granted, we still talk about it to this day. Mm-hmm. Battlefront 2 people on computer will smoke people on the console just because the mouse accuracy is just.
If they're using the mouse, yeah,
it's
funny. I actually stopped using a mouse on.
Did you?
On computer games?
Yeah, Alex he's all about that.
I have a 360 controller on my PC. Like when we play State of Decay, I'm on a 360.
See, I just love the controller. I'm still about that. Controller.
After I think actually it was Resident Evil that kind of turned me over because I tried playing Resident Evil with a keyboard and mouse and had a hard time with it.
I bet.
But it was when I started playing it, it was on the PlayStation. It was on that,
yeah.
First I used to use a PlayStation style controller because Logitech made one.
Yes. And Logitech is definitely PlayStation. They are PlayStation friendly. Yeah. Yes, they are.
And I got away from that because I started using the Xbox controller on, I'd play on other people's Xbox. I was like, this is just a little more comfortable. So then I switched to that, and I've been using that ever since. The only time I still use mouse and keyboard, honestly, is for the top-down RPG stuff where it's all turn-based anyway.
And shit like that.
Yeah, it's all turn-based
anyway. XCOM is fucking so much fun, too. Well, let me ask you this. Another game that we've brought up before, especially during our 40K conversations, they turned into a first-person shooter, and I was a total fanboy for Space Marine.
Yes.
What did they do good that you liked about that?
Oh, my God. Man, that's a gotcha question. I don't know.
Because you enjoyed it.
I loved
you enjoyed it. I know we've talked about it. That was one of the first-person shooters that you enjoyed. But to be honest with you, it's a very basic, very vanilla first-person shooter.
Is.
Like the only thing you really get are modifications
Honestly,
for your guns.
I'm gonna. This is a cop-out answer. I know. I'm just gonna say style. Just the style of the game, the visuals. Like
the visuals are beautiful.
If I was jumping into the Warhammer universe and fighting, that's what it would look like.
It's basic. If you guys have ever played the Space Marine, it's literally point. You got to take over points. And you're in these, exactly. You're in these beautiful cathedrals. I'm not trying to take anything away, but
it's a run, gun, and chainsword.
It is. It's exactly what it is.
Honestly, and the multiplayer games are just fun. I like the castle defense stuff, and a lot of the multiplayer stuff is kind of castle defense.
Yeah,
I like
the 4-player hold'ems. Where you have waves of enemies, and a lot of first-person shooters.
I just like setting up with the big rail gun and be like,
see, a lot of first-person shooters are getting that now. That it's not just run and gun. A lot of people don't want to just run and gun against people. They do like having a four player.
I think that's the thing I like too. Is like every weapon that you got was completely and totally unique from the other.
Yes.
So the Storm Bolter's very different than the Bolter pistol, very different than the las gun, very different from the claws and the chainsaw. Like they were all very, very different. And if you didn't adapt a different playing style, you're getting your ass
just
kicked.
Like the Melt-A-Gun. Melt-A-Gun was badass, but it was only
the Space Hulk gun there.
Oh, the turn-based though.
No,
right?
no. The first person one they put out.
That's right.
Death Watch or whatever.
Okay, yes, because they had an old school one on 3DO.
Yeah,
that Brandon had that one was fucking.
We used to like that one too.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like, I'll try playing with the claws, where you and if you have no guns,
no, you have nothing
with the claws, and it's an entirely different play style, and I'm always getting wrecked.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'm just like, God, it's so much easier when you're rolling the dice, but.
Well, because you're getting them in there, and you can pull them out last.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There's different.
Here's the thing. I can trace my disdain for the first person thing back. Let's go back to when Unreal and them came out. Mm-hmm. So those games obviously they hooked you. They hooked everybody.
Right.
Before that, I was like playing the little adventure games, a point and click thing, or where we played Zelda and things like that. So all of a sudden these games come out. Every game is a first-person shooter suddenly.
Yes, no, you're right.
So then my favorite game company, Sierra, decides, well, we're losing that audience. We need to do that. So they put out a King's Quest that's a first-person.
I remember that.
And I believe they used the Valve engine and everything. And I'm like, this is horrible, because I know for everybody else, like, what are you talking about? This is advanced, this 3D is awesome. I'm like, but they got away from these games where they were actually using this Disney style animation that I thought was beautiful. That you didn't see in a game before.
Absolutely.
And
that first King's Quest,
King's Quest 6,
where they had that Disney-esque, dude, that was beautiful. That was freaking beautiful.
Yeah, and all of a sudden they're changing it to compete with these first-person shooters, and I'm like, in my opinion, it was like regressing.
And to be honest with you, Sierra still isn't. They're not around, right?
Technically, yes. They're owned by Activision. Activision bought them a long time ago. They did bring the brand back because they made a new King's Quest game.
Oh, that's cool.
Which is totally, it's done totally kind of differently from the other ones. It's not like first person or anything, but it's a little. The Telltale games?
Yes.
Some people from Telltale worked on it, and it's a lot more like that than...
Okay.
And I only played the first episode. I don't know why I haven't gotten the other ones. It's not a bad game. It's a good game. They also put out some geometry action shooter or something like that. It's weird. But they're not going to... They're kind of doing what Disney's doing with LucasArts. They're not making games. They're contracting games,
out. Okay.
And they will sell them under that brand.
Right.
So I know that there's a couple people from the old gang that, like, the two guys from Andromeda want to do another Space Quest game.
Space Quest, Police Quest, those.
They did try bringing Leisure Suit Larry back a couple times with some really god awful games, but that didn't even have the Sierra name on it. I think that was just Atari at the time, or Activision put it out. But the brand still exists. They actually sold the old domain to the Sierra Mountain Company,
right,
for like a couple $1 million or something, a couple $1 billion. And now they just have Sierra.com as a domain, I think.
That's what a lot of people are doing.
Yeah, so they let the domain lapse, and then it got bought. But yeah, they're still around. Whether or not that we see any more product from them, I don't know. I mean, there's got to be interest. That's the bottom line. There's no interest. But I think, honestly, the whole first-person thing is what killed them when they tried to, what's the word? Try to steal some of that thunder instead of staying in their own lane.
Right, exactly. That's exactly it.
And you're talking an adventure game company trying to do like a first-person, I won't even say shooter. It was like first-person adventure game.
Right.
And I don't think people are ready for that, because you had, like I said, you had Unreal Tournament and you had Half-Life, which Sierra originally put out, by the way.
They got, yes. I remember
had originally
that. No,
put
I remember
that out.
seeing that, yeah.
But trying to dump some of that into your established properties that are not first-person shooters, I thought was a bad move.
So let's break down ultimate failed first-person shooters in your opinion. Some of them out there might actually surprise you. My opinion, Turok Dragon, or Turok Dinosaur Hunter. You ever play that one?
No, I never liked those dinosaur. Like, I didn't even like Dino Crisis.
If you ever had a chance, Dino Crisis, that shit. That wasn't bad though. That was a Resident Evil-ish. I had fun with that. That's all I can say. I had fun with that. That's because everybody loved dinosaurs because of Jurassic Park at that point.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was.
Dinosaurs were selling and people loved it. Turok. They had this versus mode where you could be a raptor, and it was the worst. It was so OP. All you had to do is scratch, and you'd knock them down like two. Just bad. Another one I would have to absolutely say was absolute trash. I think I put it in one time. I played like maybe 5 minutes of it. I put it back into the container, right back into the thing, and I went back. Bulletstorm. Have you ever played Bulletstorm? I don't know if that's really considered a first-person shooter, more of like, because it's done by the makers of Gears. That's when they kind of went off. They made a pigs can fly thing. I mean, just try. All he does was swear the whole time. You know, it was one of those type of games. And it was just like, that's trash.
Lately, I've noticed this trend of what's being called walking simulators. And I just played one recently called The Blair Witch.
Wait, somebody just called, what was it? The Star Wars one. The Star Wars role-playing game. Knights of the Old Republic. He goes, dude, just downloaded Knights of the Old Republic because it's free on Game Pass.
For free.
Right. And it's on Game Pass. He goes, just downloaded it. Didn't know it was Lord of the Rings Online. Because you do. You run around in that game for an awful fucking long time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I you know what's funny? I like Knights of the Old Republic. I play it for a little while, walk away from it, play it, walk away from it.
The story is great, man. You know, what a great story.
I think that should be where they take the movies, personally. You know,
they had a chance. They had a chance, man.
Yeah. I mean, you know, they could still do it. I don't know. But so I played The Blair Witch because I love horror. I like The Blair Witch, and I played that game. That game is nothing more than a walking simulator about a guy, a war vet with PTSD. That's all it's really about. And the Blair Witch part of it is kind of just in the background.
Right.
You walk for a little while. You have a dog with you. You have to pet the dog, be nice to the dog, because how you treat the dog changes the outcome of the ending. And
because the dog probably saves your ass because you have PTSD.
It's got great atmosphere, but it's a boring game.
Right.
Like, it doesn't really go anywhere. So it's like it's a walking simulator, as I call it. I have played a walking simulator that was really good, though. The Death of Ethan Carter, which...
Oh, my God. I have heard so much about that. I've even actually seen the ending of that on top 5 saddest endings of a video game ever.
And the Death of Ethan Carter is all atmosphere, really, and it's really challenging in the sense that it doesn't tell you anything. So the game starts, you get a little voiceover that you're on a case and you knew it was going to be your last case, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't tell you where to go, doesn't give you any indications, nothing. You're just standing around, okay, and you just walk around until you find stuff. Put it together, find it, you know, you see ghostly images, you investigate those, figure it out, put them together. It's a generally good game, but it is a walking simulator. There's no action. There's no nothing. It's just you putting these puzzles together.
Oh, that was like Noir, right?
Yeah.
Shadows
very
Noir.
Very noir. Yeah. And, you know, it's all first person. And, you know, that's done well. So I kind of like that. Games like Hitman.
Hitman I love.
I love Hitman.
Hitman is, it's in my opinion, is one of those games that you can go straight at it. You can run and gun.
You can.
Or you can think outside the box. And some of the ways that you can think outside the box, my God.
So
the fact that they actually that means the game designer thought of that shit. When you're doing that shit, somebody was like, you know, it'd be cool if you could fry his face on that sushi grill.
That is what would make me like first person's more of that. You know, first of all, I'd be surprised the day I see somebody actually succeed doing the running gun in that game, like, because I've tried, I get mowed over by the whole Japanese mafia.
I agree.
But more of that. That's another thing. I think the game prices are getting too high, but I digress.
Halo 3 put in a where you can assassinate people from behind, but they also put in a multiple. So if you and your buddy snuck up on somebody, you do a double takedown. And the animation was it was the same one every time, but the fact that it took you would have to both be there, both hit the button, both trigger it, bam, it would happen. But that little thing made that game so much better.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying? That little engine, that little thought, that little design that somebody said, it'd be cool.
It's funny it happens so fast, but in State of Decay 2, there's things that trigger if somebody's holding a zombie from behind and you walk up and hit it. There's little things that happen just so quick. But yeah, more of that.
A trigger, another one. I bring it up again because I'm playing a lot of it right now. Shadows of War, the Shadow of Mordor game. Sometimes you'll actually, because one of the things you have to do is dominate orcs and make your own orc army. That's the big thing about these games, and they'll betray you sometimes. But some of these monsters will actually ambush you, and depending on what you do, so like if you played the first one, have you ever played the Shadows of Mordor?
I haven't played any of them.
So you're like a ranger, and there's different things. Like there's these beehives, and you can shoot an arrow and knock the bee, well, they're fly hives, and you can drive people crazy. Like get scared. Well, some of them, if you shoot it to drive people crazy, that's when an ambush triggers. Because this guy is triggered by flies being hit, or Korogors coming in and fucking triggering it, or a Grog coming in and triggering it. And then all of a sudden, boom, you're getting jumped by this guy. You know what I'm saying? It's cool, because every single time you're just like, blah, blah, blah. Oh my God, what the fuck? And this guy's like level 20, he wants to kill you. And you're like level 15, you're like, oh fuck. So I love shit like that. I love shit like that makes you think on the fly. Shit like that makes you kind of want to, do it. And even if you do die, you're like, man, that was my own damn fault. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, fuck, I shouldn't have been here. I shouldn't have fucking went that far.
Oh yeah. I miss the whole making the bad decision and having a funny death.
Yes.
I miss a lot of that.
What I like to call a memorial, like a momentous death. It's just so incredible. You're just like, wow. You never forget it. It's something you never forget.
I miss how they used to do it. Like, I know Sierra was notorious for this. Like, some people complain about too easy to die. I used to think it was funny. And they would show you dying in such a way that make you feel so stupid for doing what you did.
And they'd sometimes even say it.
Yeah.
They'd be like, you stupidly jumped over here, blah, 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 blah. And you're like, yeah, I know. Thank you.
Yeah, that was dumb.
That was dumb. That was my fault. So I think I've already broke down like one of my favorites is going to be Halo. It's always going to be Halo. I have Halo ODST was the worst Halo game ever made, and all it was Halo, and you were a normal human. So you would get shot and die.
Yeah, you're not the first person I heard say that.
It was horrible. But that being said, I love the franchise. I love what it does. It's always given us something new. Is it ever groundbreaking? No. Was the Forge world that they came out with incredible? It was cool, but was it groundbreaking? No. People have done it before. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think groundbreaking should be the focus of these games. It's replayability. Can you go back and play it and still have a good time? That's my opinion.
Yes.
Because I think even games that don't have the best graphics have replayability.
I will sacrifice graphics over gameplay. Not a first. Well, no, it is a first-person shooter. It was. I really wanted it to be good. It was. Was it Prey? No, it wasn't Prey. I'll remember the name of the game. But what it was there was one guy that was the monster, the Titan, and there was 4 people that were the hunters. And you had to run around and chase this thing.
The Monster Hunter?
No, it wasn't Monster Hunter because the other person actually controlled the monster, this Titan. There was a Leviathan, a floating creature. I for the life of me can't remember it. They gave it away for free just recently, and
there's a free game on Steam called Deceit, where you have like, I think it's like a 5-on-1 thing.
Yeah.
And one of you is the killer.
Yeah, yeah.
But you look like everybody else.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I remember seeing something like that.
So yeah, I haven't really played it, but I definitely They were gonna do something. They were gonna do something like that with Friday the 13th before the lawsuit.
See, Friday the 13th, another one of those games that could be really, really fucking amazing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm glad they did what they did because it did have a little small cult following. But
yeah, it still does.
Exactly. But the bottom line is, it could be so great, but it just is missing that, and that's what this game was. It's such a great idea, and it could be done so well, but it was just not done well.
I'm really curious how the Predator game is going to work with the 5-on-1.
I'll say this: they had
being done by the Friday the 13th people.
That would be cool. They so they had a. I don't know if you heard about this. I think it was Modern Warfare had a Predator mod in it, or maybe it was Fallout. No, I think it was one of them. It's a Predator mod. So essentially, what it is you and your party go out into the woods and you face the Predator. And it's the AI, and I guess he's pretty tough to take down. But obviously you can't take him down. Blah blah. But it's a nice little addition. The difference between, I think, in the Predator is he's agile, whereas some of these, like when you have some of these 5-on-1s or these 4-on-1s, you're talking about giving up for power. You know what I'm saying? For mass, you're giving up that agility, and the Predator is not that. He's not massive. Mm-hmm. He is very agile. So it'll be interesting because the player is going to have to rely a lot on stealth.
Yeah.
To get in a couple cheap shots, sort of say.
If they do it right.
And that's just see?
If it's just going to be the monster, you got to keep hitting the monster until he dies.
That's what this other game turned into. That's what I hated. And the more the monster could eat and he'd gain levels and stuff like that, but it was just like that's all it turned into.
Because I think if you were to ask me right now, what's my favorite first person game?
Yes, that's essentially what this conversation was leading to. Because I told you I love Halo.
My favorite one, honestly, because it has everything I like in these type of games, Alien Isolation.
Very good call.
I loved. I think that game was done well. I
scared the shit out of you.
The extra content was great.
Scared the crap.
Yeah, it was like living in a movie.
No, it
of
really
aliens.
was. They really the ambiance of that. They really captured it.
I mean, obviously, it's based mostly on the original 1970 film, and I think they just took that look. I like the way they took that look, even though
the steam, the way that it was just like everything was dark and just. Like you'd have to double take it.
Even though we know the technology now is kind of a lot further than it was then, they kept the same readouts and displays and everything. Man.
That's so the nostalgia, and somebody as a gamer, right?
And the gameplay was great,
and we appreciate that.
I was legitimately scared because I'm hiding from this thing because they tell you cannot kill this alien.
No,
I've tried. It's like I tried shooting it with the gun. I just made it mad.
It just pisses it off.
And it's like, wow, this is. This is more than run and gun. I gotta actually
you have to think,
and I gotta be patient, and that's the type of thing I like to see.
Resident Evil, was it 3 or 4, where the Nemesis was chasing you, and you had to do certain things to get away from it? I think it was 4, right? And they had like
4 didn't have any of that,
or maybe it was 5. No,
Nemesis was in 2 and 3.
Okay,
1,
so
2, and 3.
Maybe it was 3.
Because I'm playing 2 right now.
So it's gotta be 3 because he's literally chasing after you through the through the police station and stuff like that. The music's getting all tense, and certain things that you do, like you take a wrong turn, you're fucked. You know what I'm saying? And that I love. When your heart is racing, when you're getting stuff like that, I absolutely love shit like that.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the one thing that I wish more games would bring back. First-person shooters can very much do it.
Are you excited for the reboot of Resident Evil 3?
Yes. Yes,
because Resident Evil 2
was beautiful. That was one of my favorite Resident Evil games ever. From the first time I put that in my PlayStation, I think it was PlayStation 2. Yeah, first time I put that in my PlayStation 2, and the cinematics from that truck going in there and hitting the explosions and then the fires being everywhere. And then that's where you started.
Yeah.
Then boom, you're right there. I was like, dude. And then one of my favorite was the freaking, obviously the crocodile. The crocodile is one of my favorite scenes. And did they knock that out of the park, dude?
Oh, it was great.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful. On a 4K TV, dude.
I played Resident Evil.
Wow.
I played Resident Evil 1 HD, and I thought it was good. Mm-hmm. I didn't think it was like spectacular.
No, it was.
But
that
was the first. That was the first.
Were still there.
That was the first like remake.
My God,
of one of those
Barry.
Games. Oh, jeez. Actually, there's a YouTuber that actually is trying to find those original actors.
Oh, that'd be hysterical.
He found a couple of them, and the one that played what's her name? Who's that young girl?
Oh,
not Claire.
Oh, his daughter.
No,
Barry's daughter, right?
No, she was on Barry's team.
Oh, that's right. The little girl.
Actually, she's in
it's part 2, right?
She's in Resident Evil 0 as the main character. Rebecca Chambers.
Rebecca's.
Anyway, he found the actress that played Rebecca, and Rebecca was like, "Oh wow, I didn't even know that game was so popular." Like, she didn't play video games. She was like living in Japan at the time, and she took the job on a lark.
Wow.
And she like didn't even realize how huge it had become because she didn't pay attention to video games.
Yeah.
She wasn't even 100% sure what it was for, because it was such a language barrier. I'm like, oh wow,
that's fucking awesome.
So yeah, but the Resident Evil, the 1 remake was decent. They did improve the dialogue a lot. And, but the Resident Evil 2 remake, I was like, this is almost an entirely different game, even though the plot is very similar.
Oh no, it was.
It's just the way they did it is so much better. And I love the way. Fast forward real quick, after all these years, they finally did better with those goddamn camera angles.
Yes.
The one thing about the original Resident Evil games that drive me nuts is that the camera changing at certain points. Like, no, I want.
And that's the reason why they do that. That was part of the horror element that they were trying. It was fixed. It was a fixed.
Yeah, but it was like they did it horrible.
No, they did it.
Like the technology was just bad, but it's so much better now the way they did it. It's like a combination of third person and that aesthetic, and they just did Resident Evil 2 so well. I'm actually pretty excited for Resident Evil 3. I liked Resident Evil 7. That went totally first person.
Yes, it did,
and I loved it. I was like,
I saw videos on that. I was very impressed.
Me and Alan went back and forth about this while we were playing State of Decay 2. I'm like, I thought 5, 6. was trash.
5 was complete, in my opinion. 5 was probably, like I said, we knew what it was. It was an action game going into it. You know what I'm saying? Over the shoulder, third person, Gears of War, teamwork. It wasn't. No, it was not.
See, that's why I didn't like it.
Let me tell you this right now. It was not a Resident Evil game. It was not a horror survival game.
No.
Did it have the characters, Chris, and all the rest of them in it? Yes, absolutely. Did it have fucking what's his face? Wesker. Yes.
How many times that guy gonna die?
He's like cloned, man. That's why.
That should be the next one. Resident Evil 8.
Don't worry, they'll do their job.
Resident Evil 8. Why won't you die?
They'll do their job well. I guarantee you that. That's Wesker clones.
Yeah. Resident Evil 8 should be like Chris and Leon, all of them just there,
just going up against them,
just like chopping up, just chop them in pieces and put them in boxes. Like, where are we mailing this one? Guam.
Fucking Mordor. Let's go.
Then Resident Evil 9 comes back. You have to reassemble Wesker. We need what's in his brain.
Yes.
Damn it!
Oh, man. Where did we go? Guam, right? Was it Bali? God, man. All right, guys. So we're about to wrap this up. Mention in the comments some of your favorite first-person shooter moments. Anything that we missed.
Any video game. Sandbox.
Yeah. The sandbox that we mentioned earlier. What was your favorite sandbox moment? Did you have any good sandbox moments? Is sandbox
How would you make
trash?
it better?
Right. Did they not even hit a formula that you like right now? You know what I'm saying? Mention those comments. Tell us how we're doing. Tell us how everything's going. And do not forget, we have all kinds of great places for you to find us. We're on now. We are on Apple Podcasts. And if you have an Apple, please do us a favor and leave us that 5-star review on Apple, because Apple is just the forefront for what it comes to reviews.
That's where it is.
It's the way it is. We don't know why it works that way. It just happens to work that way. So if you have an iPhone and you can leave us that review, we would love it so much. We appreciate it so much.
If you don't have an Apple, just share the show.
Right, exactly. You can also, like I said, find us on Spotify. You can find us on iHeartRadio. You can find us on
TuneIn,
we're on TuneIn, Podcast, and then, of course, when we originally started this whole thing, Anchor.fm, which we're still on there too. So if you guys would find us anywhere, and of course, if you want to contribute to the show, there's still very many avenues. If you go to the website, basementquest.com, you'll see everything there. There's formats going on there. There's forums on there. There's talks there. Open a forum.
Yeah,
go ahead and slap that on there. We'll be there very soon. Like I said, I think today I talked it over with Ed. We're going to be doing our heroic holodeck main event moments, or main deck main event moments, are going to be with the Palladium system.
Yeah, we're going to use the SDC system.
I think it's going to be a lot more fun.
The Megaversal system.
To be honest with you, I think it's going to be so fair that we won't have to do, like, say, 10 matches.
No.
I think we'll have to do, like, maybe one, and if it's, like, pretty much right there. I think we'll have a good idea. So we will have that set up pretty soon here. I'll be working on that this week. Believe me, I have the time now. I have the energy. I have the drive. I have the glorious purpose now. And this is going to be the focus of it, people. So bring it back. Bring us the love. And then we're going to keep giving you great content. This is all we care about right now.
Yeah, I got couple articles are going to go up on the website soon from some other authors that are interested in discussing their role-playing expertise.
I'm excited about that.
So definitely go to basementquest.com, sign up for the forums. If you are familiar with like Pathfinder or the Arkham
we're still
games,
looking, yes.
If you have something you'd like to contribute in terms of content or something,
we would love it.
You can email gamemaster@basementquest.com.
There you go. And then anything else, find us, of course, on Twitter. You can find me at PortugalViking.com or at PortugalViking. Same thing with...
at Eddie Jakes on Twitter.
On Twitter. And then you can find us Instagram. Basement Quest is on Instagram. Follow us there. We'll give you a follow-on back, and everything's... just rolling forward.
Everything's been great.
It's been great. We just dropped this morning the 40K, the Sisters of Battle review just came out last night. So check that out and give us the love there. Ed's working on the video. There's a little issue with the video.
Technical issue on the video, but it'll be up today. But by the time you hear this, it'll probably already be up. So
right, exactly. We always try to record that a little bit ahead of time for you guys, but have a great Saturday. Have a great game. And, hey, send us some pictures, man. If you guys are gaming this weekend, send us some pictures. We would love it, man.
We'll give you your own post.
Yeah, absolutely. We would love it, guys. Thank you all very much. We love the love. We love the appreciation that you guys have. Give us the shares. Give us the reviews. And we'll be back here next Saturday. From Basement Quest, from Loki.
From Eddie.
We'll see you guys again. Love you.